Well, hello, Andrew here yet again, and this is episode number 192. And today we're still in the garden. Jesus has just finished his prayer in Gethsemane, and he is now gathering his disciples. And we pick up the narrative at Matthew chapter 26, verses 46 to 50. So Jesus says to his disciples, "Get up, let us be going. See, my betrayer is at hand." While he was still speaking, Judas, one of the 12, arrived. With him was a large crowd with swords and clubs from the chief priests and the elders of the people. Now the betrayer had given them a sign saying, "The one I will kiss is the man, arrest him." At once he came up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you are here to do." Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and arrested him. It's this interchange between Judas and Jesus which is worth noting for a minute. First Judas. He approaches Jesus as if nothing's happened. And he approaches him and kisses him in a way that one would a rabbi. There's a sense that what we're seeing here is a kind of normality that he's injecting into the situation. There's a boldness and almost confident arrogance in what he's doing. He's clearly not in any way ashamed or embarrassed. If he were, I imagine he would have stayed almost hidden in the background and have simply pointed out Jesus to those he'd brought into the olive grove. It would seem that Judas is not bothered by the other disciples being there either. This suggests to me one of two options. They may both be the case. The first one may be a little flippant. One, that Judas is having a psychotic episode. He's so completely dissociated from who he is, from his affection for Jesus, and from his camaraderie with the other disciples, that he is now in an alternative reality. Or two, that Jesus actually is convinced that he is doing the right thing, that Judas is convinced that he's doing the right thing. It's not that he hates Jesus, he believes in Jesus, his version of Jesus, and his version of who Jesus is and what Jesus is here to do. He's merely helping him along, helping Jesus to discover what his true calling is, and seeking to push him into a corner so that he'll come out fighting. Judas has a plan. He believes it's all going to work out just fine. Judas has still not understood Jesus. And what of Jesus and the way he relates to Judas? Well, we notice that he calls him friend. I checked the word in my theological dictionary. The word friend, heteros, friend, companion, comrade, is only found 3 times in the New Testament, all in the vocative, which means it's kind of spoken out. Darling, friend, hey. And they're all in Matthew. There's one, the first one is in Matthew chapter 20, the parable of the workers in the vineyard, where after he's heard the complaint from one of the workers about not getting enough money, the owner of the vineyard just calls him friend. I have not cheated you. The second occasion is in the parable of the wedding feast, where there's someone there who's not wearing the provided garments. And the king says to him, "Friend, how come you're in here dressed like that?" And we see it in this incident here. The dictionary comments, in each case the person speaking is addressing an inferior who has insulted him in some way, but the words are without malice. Moreover, the speaker and the person addressed are bound in some sort of relationship which has suffered an egotistical disregard of what it means. In the 2 parables, the speaker has the last word. In this climactic incident, this one we're looking at here, Jesus suffers at the hand of his betrayer, yet nevertheless the impression is unfailingly transmitted that this event still leaves Jesus in control of his destiny. And, I'd add, still reaching towards Judas with a measure of understanding and love. At some level, we all put God in a box, just like Judas has done. We recreate Jesus in our own image. We're seeing this very clearly at the moment with the huge polarizations that are happening politically in countries like the USA, and what has and continues to happen here in Aotearoa. This episode that I'm doing right now, speaking to you, is being prepared before the American election. In my time, it's still a day away. And you are viewing this, you will know how it's all turned out, or if the train wreck of it continues to unfold in slow motion. Christians, if they have been here, have been lined up on both sides of the political divide, each sure that Jesus would see the issues with the same stark clarity that they do. On the one side, the things that Jesus is most concerned about is driving out the evil of abortion, of protecting the institution of marriage by outlawing homosexuality again, and of upholding the rights of citizens to own and carry guns in order to protect themselves from people who are not like us. On the other side, the things that Jesus is most concerned about is making sure that everyone gets a fair go, the access to adequate education, healthcare, and employment opportunities, of protecting the human dignity of minority groups, and of ensuring that the country is welcoming to people who are different from us, the stranger, the immigrant. Both groups can point to Scripture, chapter and verse, and often many verses, to support their perspectives. Wherever we find ourselves on any sort of continuum, we need to be really careful that we're not simply co-opting Jesus to act as a salve to calm our worst and darkest fears, to reinforce our prejudices, or to bolster our sense of entitlement as those who are truly blessed by God because we are the ones who really know, who have God in our corner. So how can we know for sure whether we're in the right place or not? I just want to ask the question, what's in your heart? What's in your heart? Accept the possibility that you could be wrong, that you're responding the best that you can out of who you are, where you come from, what you know. It's true. We all do that. And we need to accept the possibility, given those things, that we could still be wrong. And we assume also that others are also doing the best that they can. It may not be to our taste, but they are doing what they believe God calls them to do. None of this is easy. I'm not going to pretend it is, because I personally have my own very clear views about it. Yet if, like Jesus, we can still view the other through the eyes of love, still desires God's best for them, though we might believe them to be mistaken, even though they might be attacking us, we may not be too far off track. After all, we're called to love those who hate us, to yearn for, to desire their highest and best good. And thus speaks the mind of Christ. God bless you.